name is Bebo, and I run marketing and partnerships for Bebo, and really happy to be here.
Thanks. Well, tell us about this new series launching today, tomorrow, depending on your time zone, right? That you've made in collaboration with Universal Music Group.
That's right. We were at Universal Music about 6 months ago, and talking about the future of the music business and how music companies are really trying to come back to their roots, which is all about the music experience as opposed to just selling musical tracks. And Lucian Grange, who runs Universal in Europe, actually came up with an idea of why don't we do a show that takes place in Universal Music, the actual building. And the concept was that a post-room boy called Sam King, 17 years old, dreams of being a talent scout and decides to set up a record label in the basement of Universal Music offices. He's got this arch nemesis called Greg, who's kind of, related to the record label's owner, and he's sort of the typical A&R man. But Sam really resorts to a different strategy to discovering the next big thing. He basically uses the Bebo community, the 700,000 bands that are on Bebo, in order to figure out who should get signed, who should open up for the Sugar Babes, who they should invite to Universal to get a record deal or get a track produced. So that's his secret weapon, is being able to be in touch with the community and get those tips and demo tapes.
Yeah, can you give us the basics for the show? I mean, what's your current plan for the rollout, and how many episodes and how long and how often will they be released?
Sure. As with all our shows, we sort of don't have an end date for the show. We usually start with 3 to 6 months and then see how the show does with the community and how enthusiastic sponsors are in backing it. But if Sacking is any indication, I think this one's going to be a long show, because even before we started actually airing the show, which starts on Wednesday, the reception with the audience and sponsors has been overwhelmingly positive. I think part of it is because we're going to have a lot of cameo appearances, anywhere from Sam Sparrow to Jonas Brothers to the Automatics, and that's going to really blur that line.
Those Jonas Brothers, they get around.
Yeah, they do. You're very, very popular with the Bebo folks, and it's going to start as a daily show, so 3 to 5 minutes episodes, and really blur that line between fiction and reality.
Yeah. Are you exploring, I mean, from the other series you've done, Kate Modern, Sophia's Diary, could you talk a little bit about what elements of integration with Bebo that you'll be learning from and using and applying to Sam King?
So all the characters on the show have a Bebo profile. So, for example, Sam makes it very clear that if you've got a tip for a band that you should be checking out, you should contact him directly on his profile.
So it seems, a much further level of integration, right? I mean, it's not just saying I'm friends with the main character.
Exactly. It means that you can actually, as a fan of the show, you could show up to a show where an act that you recommended is actually doing the opening for Jonas Brothers, and you get to be there and go backstage and you'll meet Sam. It's all just a little bit weird because he's a fictional character, but you actually get to meet him and he actually does something. He really is an A&R scout. So,
and with your shows previously, also you've done an interesting, made some really interesting experiments with product integration, right? I mean, so how is that planned from the beginning? I mean, clearly Universal's pretty involved, right? But who else?
Well, we've got Virgin Mobile and we've got Sony Ericsson as sponsors we're going to start working with right now. So we've got a few interesting integrations around that, around some music festivals. I think what we try to do with our product and brand integrations is really to make it as seamless as possible, where the product or the service really moves the storyline forward, as opposed to just showing the logo of the brand. I think both Sony Ericsson and Virgin are really up to speed in terms of propelling that kind of what the brand stands for, as opposed to just the traditional product placement approach.
Okay.